Okay, what's going on? Visit our episode, Big Blue Unbiased.com. Thank you to those who've liked, commented, and subscribed. I appreciate you guys. If you guys can turn notifications on, that would be awesome. Set notifications. Every time I post, you get a notification. You can come join in on the conversation. If you guys can comment, I would appreciate that. We'll get the conversation going. In this video, we're going to talk about the Giants' schedule. It's out there. We know who they're playing week 1, the Denver Broncos, and a Sterling Shepard jersey number change. We'll talk about the jersey rule change in this video as well. But first, we have a sponsor, Manscaped.com. They just released the Lawnmower 4.0. I was in Target the other day and I said, wow, looks pretty cool. But you can go online, you can get it for 20% off and get free shipping with the promo code BBU, the brand new Lawnmower 4.0. Father's Day is quickly approaching. So for the father in your life, your brother, anyone that you know who's a father out there and you want to honor them, you want to get them a cool gift, Manscaped.com, you can use the promo code BBU as in Big Blue Unbiased. If you guys want to support our channel, the best way to do that is to support our sponsors. So our sponsor, Manscaped.com, 20% off plus free shipping, promo code BBU. So let's get into some Giants football. The schedule is out there. We know who they're playing. There's now 17 games in a season, and there's 3 preseason games. So let's give a preview of the schedule and games that I think the Giants can win and what I think their final record will be as we sit here on May 13th. Obviously, things will change. There's injury situations, not only with the Giants, but other teams that are going to change the landscape of this schedule in terms of the competitive situation that they will be facing. So let's start with it. They're playing the Denver Broncos in week 1. The Broncos, their quarterback situation, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's good enough. I have listed 7 teams specifically, and one of them is the Eagles, so that turns into 8 games, where I think the Giants' quarterback situation, the situation that they are facing, the opponent's quarterback situation, is just about even with what they have. It's just about even, and the Broncos are one of those teams. I think the Broncos, the Falcons, the Saints, the Panthers, the Raiders, the Eagles 2 times, and the Bears. We'll see. We'll see what Justin Fields turns into. We'll see if he's just, maybe he's great right away, and then all of a sudden that changes, and maybe that's going to be a tough matchup for them because their quarterback situation will be top-notch, but maybe it'll be in the other direction, and it'll be a much easier quarterback situation. But those are 7 teams specifically in 8 games in total because they play the Eagles twice, where I think the quarterback situation is just about even, especially when you consider all the weapons the Giants added this offseason. You're giving Daniel Jones a really nice shot at least being an average quarterback. I know people don't want to hear that. They want to see him be great, and I understand that, but you got to be realistic here. They're in a situation where he should at least be an average quarterback. He should at least be a top 16 quarterback. Right in the middle, right? Maybe around 16. At this point, you would think, okay, 15, 16 overall in the league in terms of being a quarterback with the weapons that he has. And I think when you look at all these teams, that's kind of where their situation averages out to be. The Broncos don't really know what they're going to do. With Drew Lock, we'll see. The Falcons, you look at Matt Ryan last year, and in terms of QBR, he was at 16th, so I don't know if he's really the dominant quarterback that he was a few years ago, whatever it was. Last year, he was just kind of average. The Saints with Jameis and Taysom, I don't know. I don't think it'll be dominant by any means. I think it's definitely a winnable game. The Panthers with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold hasn't been a good quarterback over the course of his NFL career. He was with the Jets, and we understand that situation. He didn't get much help, but at the same time, I don't think he's a great quarterback. It's definitely a winnable game for them. The Raiders, Derek Carr, he was 11th in QBR last year. I think he's a good quarterback, but certainly not someone you expect to dominate your defense. I think that's definitely a winnable game. The Eagles with Jalen Hurts, we'll see. 2 of those games, that's kind of the guy you would expect to be their starter is Jalen Hurts, 2 times a year. Definitely winnable games there. And the Bears, I think at this moment with a rookie quarterback in Justin Fields, we'll have to see. Maybe he's really good right out the gate. Maybe he's not. But I think that the Giants, quarterback-wise, are in a good situation where those are 8 legitimately winnable games where they have a good chance and they probably should win those games. I'll give them a slight edge in most of those games. I think it's pretty much 50-50, but I'll give them a slight edge, maybe like 52 to 55%. Those are their games. And then I think there are a couple games that could very, very well go either way. I like Washington a lot this year. You look at Fitzpatrick last year, he was 5th in QBR. He's a good player. I think that's a really good add for them. They obviously have Terry McLaurin. They added Curtis Samuel. They have some nice pieces on their offense now, and their defense is obviously very good, and they have a really good pass rush. So I think what you're looking at right now, and Dallas is going to get Dak Prescott back. That's not going to be an easy matchup. If they can win one of those games against Dallas or Washington, one of those 4 games, I know that sounds kind of like, oh, that's not that great, but let's just say they do win those 8 games that I talked about, and they win one of these games against Dallas or Washington. Maybe they can win more. These are division games, and you never know how they can go. And then I'm looking at the 2 LA teams. They have the Rams and the Chargers. If they can win one of those games, I think I would probably say those teams have an edge over the Giants at this point. I think most people would probably say that, who are just kind of in the middle and unbiased. If they can win one of those games, and they win one of those games against just one of those games, Dallas or Washington, and they beat those teams that I think that they should beat, because of the opposing quarterback situation that they face. That's the Broncos, that's the Falcons, that's the Saints, that's the Panthers, that's the Raiders. The Eagles, I think that they should sweep the Eagles this season. That should happen. They are a better team. Unless Jalen Hurts turns it on and he turns into this great player, they are the better team, and I think that they do have the quarterback edge and the offensive edge as well. And the Bears, I think the Bears are still a wild card. I think they could be a decent team. They're definitely not going to, I don't think they're going to be an easy team, but I think that it's still a matchup the Giants should win. You take those 8 games into account, and what I'm saying in terms of Dallas or Washington, or even these 2 LA games, the Chargers and the Chargers and the Rams, if they split one of those games, and if they just win one of those 4 games, I think they could easily win one of their 2 games against Dallas, and they could win one of their 2 games against Washington. They would be in an even better spot. But I'm just saying in terms of odds, I do think that right now Washington and Dallas are in better quarterback situations than the Giants. I would give both of those teams, as long as their quarterbacks are healthy, I would give them a slight edge against the Giants. Maybe you guys don't agree with that. Maybe you don't like that, and I understand. But I like Dak Prescott more than Daniel Jones at this point. Statistically, Dak Prescott, in terms of EPA, has been a really, really good quarterback. I know this is a Giants channel and you love your team. I get that. But we're going to talk about facts here. Dak Prescott's a damn good quarterback. And right now, he's definitely better than Daniel Jones. I would take Dak Prescott over Daniel Jones. So that's going to be a tough matchup as long as Dak Prescott is healthy. If they can win one of those games, against Washington, they are in a great spot. But all I'm saying is if they literally just win one of those 4 and they split one of those LA games, that's going to be kind of a tough matchup, and they win the games that I think that they really should win. I think that they should beat the Broncos, the Falcons, the Saints. The Saints and the Broncos have a nice roster, but I think that those are 2 games that at this point the Giants have a better quarterback situation. The Broncos and the Saints, I think the Giants have a better quarterback situation in terms of Jones having the weapons that he has as long as everyone's healthy. You look at the Panthers. I think the Giants, they're in a better situation than the Panthers offensively. The Raiders, I think Derek Carr is he's a better quarterback than Daniel Jones, but at the same time, I think when you give Daniel Jones all these weapons, I don't think it's really that much of a difference. I think it's kind of a wash between those 2 guys. The Eagles, I think that they can sweep the Eagles, and I think that they should beat the Bears. So you're looking at 8 wins right there. And like I said, if you just win one of those 4 against Dallas or Washington, you split one of these LA games, you're 10-7, and I think you're in the playoffs at that point. Do I think the Giants are going to be a dominant team this year? Probably not, but I think that they can win 10 games. And I think you lay it out here, and that's probably what's going to happen. You continue to look at the schedule. You have some tough games. You have the Chiefs. That's going to be a tough game. You shouldn't expect them to win. If they do, then that's great. That's a huge plus for them. But let's be realistic. They shouldn't win that game. They're not expected to win that game. Doesn't mean that they can't. But again, we're putting things on paper here, and we're trying to be rational. They play the Buccaneers, and they played the Buccaneers pretty well last year. Even with their situation, it wasn't great. The Giants last year, Jones wasn't playing well. The offense was limited. Okay, they were limited, but I'm not expecting them to beat the Buccaneers this year. I'm just not. I'm going to give the Buccaneers a decent edge in this game. Doesn't mean the Giants can't win it. Okay, it doesn't mean that they can't pull this game off. I think that they have enough talent to be competitive in this game. But again, we're going to be objective here. I'm going to give the Giants a loss for that game. I think the Miami game is going to be a tough game too. Look, Tua, you could make an argument that the Dolphins game could be in those 7 teams that I mentioned, where it's kind of, I think the Giants have the advantage with the Broncos, Falcons, Saints, Panthers, Raiders, Eagles twice, and the Bears. You could make the case that the Dolphins should be in that group because their quarterback situation is certainly not set. Tua really, I don't know, I don't think anybody was truly impressed with how he played. So you could put them in there, but the Dolphins also were a damn good team last year. They have a really good roster, and if Tua just improves a little bit, they're going to be a tough matchup. So I'm going to give the Giants a loss for that game. So you're looking at 3 teams with the Chiefs, the Buccaneers, and the Dolphins, where I think it's going to be a really tough matchup, and I don't expect them to win. And I think I'm telling you, the Washington games are going to be tough too. I think they're going to win a game against Dallas, so that's kind of where I see it, and maybe they can pull off a game against Washington. It's going to be close. But I really like the addition of Fitzpatrick, and I think Washington's going to be a tough team. So at the end of the day, if you want my prediction here, I think that they're going to finish 10-7. This is what we'll do. I'll give you a brief final prediction here. I'll give a W with the Broncos. I'm going to give a loss to Washington in Week 2. Then we'll go to Week 3. I'll give a W for the Falcons. So right now they're standing at 2-1. We'll go to Week 4. Saints. I'll give another W. The Giants are 3-1. We'll go to Week 5. I'll give the Giants a loss, 3-2. We'll go to Week 6 here against the Los Angeles. What do we got here? We got so many LA teams now. I'm getting confused. We got the Los Angeles Rams. Okay, Week 6, Los Angeles Rams. I'm going to give the Giants a win. I think that they're going to pull this one out, so they'll be 4-2. Panthers. I think they're going to win that game, 5-2. We'll go loss. Chiefs. We'll go 5-3. I think they'll beat the Oakland Raiders or the Las Vegas Raiders. Every team's changing location. I can't keep up. So what do we got? We got 6-3, then a bye week. I think it'll be a nice bye week. 6-3. The Giants will be in a really nice spot. They'll come back against the Buccaneers, and I think that they're going to lose that game. They'll be 6-4. They'll beat the Eagles. They'll be 7-4. Dolphins probably lost. I'm going to go 7-5 on that one. I think that they'll probably. I'm going to go with a loss right now to the Chargers, 7-6. I think they'll beat the Cowboys. They're going to win at least one of those 2 games against the Cowboys. I have a gut feeling. Because I'm not sold on I think the Cowboys defense is I don't know. They have a weird roster. They have good receivers, and the quarterback situation is really nice, but their defense is just, never really sold on. Their defense is always weird. So I'm going to give them a win. So at this point, what are we? We're 14 games in. The Giants are 8-6. They're going to win against the Eagles. They'll be 9-6, and then they're going to win against the Bears. They'll be 10-6, and then I think we'll give them, let's just say, we'll give them a loss in Week 18 against Washington, finish the season 10-7. I think that's fairly objective. I think most of you would probably agree if you took your Giants hat off and your Giants jersey off and you said, okay, where do I really think the Giants are going to end up? I think 10-7 is legitimate. And that I think is going to be good enough. It's going to be good enough. Remember, 7 teams in each conference make the playoffs. Unless there's another rule change. I feel like there's new changes, jersey changes, location changes every 5 minutes. Unless something changed since I started this video. I'm pretty sure 7 teams in each conference make the postseason. So 7 spots, 10-7. I think it's going to get you into the postseason. It should. 10 wins should get you into the postseason. Obviously, there's a little bit of inflation now because we got 17 games. Another rule change. So we got a little inflation here. So, there's going to be there's going to be some more wins. You would think it's going to be a little bit tougher. 10-7 probably won't 100% guarantee a playoff spot. But it's going to put you in, I think that they'll be in the postseason at 10-7. And then from there, maybe they win a game or 2 in the postseason. Gives them some momentum behind Daniel Jones. And there you go. So that's my prediction, 10-7. I kind of broke it down a little bit. Nice 14-plus minute video on that. I usually do a lot of short videos. So that's my prediction here on May the 13th, and that I think will probably fluctuate as this offseason goes by and as the season goes by, because we'll certainly see things are going to change competitive-wise. Quickly, I want to talk about the Sterling Shepard thing. I think it's I like this idea about the jersey changes where Sterling Shepard is going to wear, I think, number 3 now, his old college number. We have all these rule changes where players are just wearing whatever jersey that they want. I think it's kind of cool. I like it. It's going to take some time to getting used to it because I've never seen that really in the NFL. I've always been used to wide receivers wearing a number in the 80s or the teens, and for any other position, you're just used to seeing certain numbers at certain positions, so it's going to be weird. But it's kind of a cool idea. I think if, I actually think it'll kind of help jersey sales too. That is just completely my own opinion. I have nothing to back that up, but I think it may. Just because it adds a little bit more flair to that player. It's more personalized. Whatever number that player really likes, they kind of pick. Instead of it just being like, all right, I'm a wide receiver, I have to pick 87 or something, So it's kind of cool. It'll definitely be take some time to get used to it. It's going to be weird, but I think it is kind of a cool aspect to the game. I kind of like it. So that's all I got.